Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody have fun. Sup, bitches? Welcome to another episode of Genius Brain Podcast. I'm your host, David So, with my co-host,
Joe Jitsukawa, baby.
baby. Dude, I remember the first time I actually learned of your last name and your hair. You know what the funny thing is, dude? I don't understand why people didn't know you were Japanese.
I know, right?
You have the most
funny.
Japanese fucking face on earth, dude. You look like an anime character.
It's because you knew Japanese people growing up. A lot of people, they don't know. They just don't know. They thought I was Vietnamese. They thought I was Chinese.
Yeah,
they thought I was Korean.
They're like, he's Vietnamese. I was like, he does not have a fucking Vietnamese face to save his life. His shit is Japanese as fuck. You have like the prominent Japanese nose. You have the thick Japanese hair. The facial hair is Japanese. I was like,
the Japanese teeth.
Yeah, the beautiful Japanese crooked teeth, dude. Like, what the fuck? So like, I remember, like, you guys couldn't tell me your guys' ethnicity. The person I couldn't figure out was obviously Bart.
Yeah.
Bart was just, he just looked Korean as fuck to me.
Yeah. He does have a Korean face.
Yeah, the Korean tattoo and everything. Yep. And I was like, wait, I don't understand what's going on with this guy. So he was a mystery, but you were Japanese as hell.
Dude, when I was in Seoul, I took a selfie with a soldier out there because that fool looked like Bart's brother.
Yeah.
Like, they both look so alike. I was like, I got to get a selfie with this dude.
He looks Korean as fuck.
Yeah.
So when he told me that he was Chinese, that blew my fucking mind, dude. I was like, I thought you were Korean, dude.
Well, he's like part native because he has Peruvian, but that was like 10% or something.
Yeah.
And then he has like Chinese and all kinds of different Chinese.
But he grew up with so many Korean people.
Yeah.
He knew so much Korean inside jokes.
Yeah.
That's something that only Korean people would know.
Right.
So that shit threw me off. But he got me. But you're fucking Japanese as hell, man. And then it was your cousin, dude.
Yeah.
So
she's such a freaking angel, man.
So we were going on a hike, and Joe, just to preface this with the story, he told his cousin not to say anything about his ethnicity because nobody knew at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know. Like, I knew what Gio was, and I didn't know what Bart or Joe was.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to keep it under wraps. And then as we were hiking, she goes, "Oh, so how long have you been friends with Masato-kun?" I was like, "Masato?" You know? And then I was in the car with Gio, and I was like flipping through pictures, and I just go, "Masato, huh?" And then Gio's eyes go boom wide. She goes, I was like,
she is so funny. It's like you know when you tell your mom like, hey, this is a secret, and she's like, all right, and then she'll tell her friend the secret, but she won't change her voice tone. She'll just cover her mouth and be like, did you hear?
Yeah.
Did you hear that he had his first kiss?
Yeah.
That's basically what my cousin was doing. It's like, man, you are not discreet, dude.
That shit was so fun. And in her mind, she goes, I didn't tell him. Yeah, but you said Masato. That's fucking Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
dude,
so
I was
funny.
Dying, man.
But was it gonna be freaking Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
You know, like.
But you know who actually? Somebody told me earlier, but I didn't understand where the reference was coming from. But you know Tom, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "Do you know Joe's like actual real last name?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what it is." He goes, "It's like Mama, Joe Mama." And I was like, his last name is Mama.
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean?"
It's Moma.
Yeah, but he didn't know that. So he was like, because I guess one time when you guys were going out to eat, he saw your card and he saw it said Mama. And that's how he said it to me. He goes, his last name is Mama. I was like, well, what fucking ethnicity is that, you jackass? Like, that doesn't help me out.
Yeah.
Mama. He goes, his name is Joe Mama. I was like, no, that can't be it, dude. that's not of any ethnic Asian variety at all.
Right.
But it was Moma.
Yeah, because my dad, when he came to the States, you know, through immigration and all that shit, they're like, what's your name? And he said, Moma. And then they said, okay. And then they wrote down Mama.
Oh, okay. That
when
makes
he was
sense.
supposed to write down Monma, Moma, that would have made more sense, right?
Yeah.
But then that's what they wrote, so it just stuck.
Did you get called like Joe Mama?
Yeah, I did.
Fucking
Joe
kids.
Mama. Yep.
It's okay. People call me Fatso, so it's all good. That's actually genius, you little fucks.
But yeah, I mean that was my dad's last name. But then after, you know, him and my mom split, I took my grandma's name. But the funny thing is, my grandma's maiden name is Ito.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you took the name that she got married into.
And then she had a divorce, and I didn't know that. So
Son of a bitch,
So
dude.
she didn't change her last name. She didn't change it.
Why'd she keep it?
She was too lazy.
Yo, that's so interesting.
But you know what though? I think she loves my grandpa because it wasn't bad because when she had Alzheimer's, she would always talk about him. She's like, "Oh, you know my husband," like, and then she's like, "Yeah, he's gonna come home," and like, so I think at the end of the day, as long as she loved him, he's still my grandpa. I never met the dude because he passed when I was born. So it's like, cool. I'm carrying on a name of someone she cares about.
Why did they split?
Well, funny story is, okay, so like in Japan, like both of my families came from pretty high pedigree. Like my grandma, you know, her father was an executive at the Toshiba Corporation. Like,
oh shit, dude, you're royalty? What the fuck?
Well, dude, get this, like the chaperone that basically yeah, so she had an arranged marriage, and then the person that she married, which was my grandpa, like he, you know, the person that basically was their chaperone was he's like the Hitler of Japan, but his name was Tojo, Admiral Tojo. And then so like back in the day when you have an arranged marriage, a male and female can't go on a date alone.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody there watching the whole thing. And also they're kind of there to like report to the parents and be like,
okay,
yeah, I think, you know, they like each other. Or like they're kind of like, if they're also like young, they're too shy and they don't know how to start a conversation. So they direct their conversation to the dude and he's like the icebreaker. So he's the third wheel.
Yeah.
So my grandma had that dude like as her chaperone and she had no idea of what kind of a like sinister dude he was. She had no fucking clue. And then also like a lot of things was weird to me because the way that she talked about the war was not like how my friends' grandmas talked about the war.
What do you mean?
Well, so basically she was like, I was like, you remember the bombings? And he goes, yeah, one time like they bombed our estate and then all of us and the maids had to get the fire off the roof. And we're like, us and the maids?
What the fuck?
Yeah, right. And then she goes, yeah, it was so bad that we had to go to our country home to like hide. And I'm like, what? Like, I was like, wait, so during the war, they had another home that was in the countryside. And then her and like my family there, they had to just hang out there. But we're talking about Grave of the Fireflies. Everyone in Japan is starving. She still had food. She was like moving from house to house. So that was her part of the life early on, right? And then so she gets married to my grandpa, who was an accountant, and he came from a prestigious family too. And so the problem that happened was he kind of got stuck with he got into a bad habit with alcohol.
Yeah.
And my mom has fond memories of him. She was like, he was never abusive. Like he drank a lot. He was drunk, but he was like a happy drunk. She didn't hear them argue, but then he was always out working. And then she says that I just remember him being drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And then so he had a problem with alcohol. He was never sober, but he was like a party animal. And what my grandma told my mom, like all of us when we got older, was he was just constantly partying, getting hookers, and like they had three or four properties under their name. All of them just gambled away. So he had a gambling addiction. And so my grandma was so pissed that she was like, I can't raise my children under this type of environment.
Yeah.
And back then, like divorce was a huge fucking deal.
Of course.
You don't, especially in prestigious families, if you divorce, that's like,
it's like a stain.
Right. It makes the whole family look bad.
On the Ito name.
Yeah, but my grandma's she's kind of a renegade. Like she was one of the first few women in her generation to actually go to a college and university. Yeah, so like back then, like women just didn't do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
she didn't have to either, right? Because she was already born into wealth. So
right, but she's smart. So she loved debating. She loved like thinking. She
being
loved
a troublemaker, dude.
Right. So because of that, she went to university despite her parents' wishes not to. They're like, why don't you just find a good husband? And she's like, fuck that, right?
Yeah.
So she went to university. She did all this stuff, and then that was a tough time too because a lot of guys were intimidated by that.
Yeah.
So then,
of course.
Yeah. So she couldn't get married, but then her sister, which was like, she was pretty. So my I don't know, what would you say, great aunt or whatever, my grandma's sister, she was pretty. She was taller. She was always like done up really well. She's like your typical classy woman. My grandma, on the other hand, I look at her old pictures. She was a straight up tomboy. Like her hair's all fucked up, all this shit. But anyways, like, so yeah, that she finally got married. All this stuff happened, and then the divorce happened. And then like back then, to give you an idea of how bad divorce is, like technically you're not supposed to allow your daughter home if she had a divorce. She has to be off on her own.
Oh, it's like you have to shun your daughter.
It's bad, man. Like, to give you an idea how bad it is, so my uncle, he was broke as fuck, right?
Yeah.
And his mom was in an abusive relationship. Mm-hmm. So he would beat the fuck out of the kids, beat the fuck out of his mom, like her, all that stuff. So when his mom begged her father to take her back because, you know, he's like, my husband's beating me. Like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He said, I can't, because it's going to ruin the family name.
Yikes.
And he goes, if I bring you back into my home, that it's like you failed. Yeah. As a woman, you failed. That's what he told her, right? So she had 3 kids. Uh-huh. My uncle's the youngest. One night, she took my uncle and then like basically ran away. And then she was living in like a barn. Like, she just basically broke into a barn and like lived throughout the winter and all that. And the farmer found her and they're just like, well, I guess you could stay. Yeah. And that's what they had to do. But my grandma, when she had a divorce and she went back to my great grandpa, what he ended up doing was at the edge of their property, they had this huge estate. They just built her a house. They just literally just built her a house just so she could live there with my mom and my aunt.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, well, I can't take you back in, but I'll just build you a separate house so you could be close to me down the block. Yeah. And then you can live there. And then so like,
that's almost better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's different. It's just crazy. Like I'm just like, wow, that's so crazy. So I'm like learning all this stuff about my history and my
dude, that's where you get your fucking bullshit from, dude. You got it from your grandma, dude. She's just full of bullshit. She is, like, man. Anytime there was a rule, she's like, fuck that shit, dude. I'm fucking whoever I want. Yeah. I want to be educated. I want to fucking read, son. Yeah. That's tight.
Yo, she drove. Like, she did like a lot of like driving for women is like, it's like pretty edgy, you know?
Isn't that interesting? Because you would, this is on your mom's side.
Yeah. This is my mom's side.
So it's weird because the way you describe your mom, she seems to be relatively a lot more tame than that. Yeah. So it skipped a generation and then it went to you.
Well, my mom said that my grandma was so assertive to the point where she was too controlling. So my mom didn't have to do anything because she grew up with like her mom like doing everything for her. So she said that like when she was little, she didn't have a voice. Because my grandma would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my mom was like, I want to be a school teacher. And then my grandma would be like, no, you're going to be a nurse.
But isn't that's so fucking weird because your mom hated that. Yeah. But she would still do it to her own kid.
Not necessarily. Yeah. I mean, like I had a lot of freedom, but she wanted me to be a musician.
I mean, not your mom, your grandma.
Oh,
your grandma would do that because your mom was trying to learn from the other way around a little bit, right? Yeah. When your mom got older and your guys' relationship started getting closer, she started changing her ways a little bit, maybe in reflection of what she had with her parent. But because your grandma fought against what her parents want, you would have thought that would have trickled down a little bit.
She's a stubborn ox, man.
That's fucking crazy because it's a little hypocritical of her, right?
It is.
It's like, wait, hold on a second. You were happy being the tomboy with the fucking tousled hair, sucking whatever dick you wanted, and all of a sudden with your own daughter, you're like, you're still going to listen to what I say. Yeah. That's so odd. I wouldn't think that would be the case.
I think she just has a really strong personality, man. Because like she used to live at my house. So the day she flew into the States to kind of live with us is the day I was born. Yeah. And I guess like it's been turbulent in the house ever since she came in. Yeah. Because she's so fucking headstrong. And you know, like in an Asian family, like it's very patriarchal. Like it's like father's supposed to be the top dog, right? Yeah. But then also the oldest supposed to be the top dog. So there's always this battle between my dad and my grandma. My dad's he's not articulate. He's not intelligent. Like he's a musician that just cares about his music. Yeah. So he wasn't really good at explaining himself or arguing his points. And my grandma's so damn good that he just always fucking ran circles around him, and he would get so frustrated
because he can't explain himself.
Right. So it got to the point where she had to go.
Oh wow!
So they kicked her out, and then
she moved back to Japan.
No. So she would move. She moved to NorCal and lived with my uncle.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That's hard, man. Because I know that my mom's super headstrong too.
Yeah.
But she says it though. She's gonna understand that when it comes to me, when Mariel and I get married, that's gonna be our household. Like you could say your opinions, but if I don't take it, you're just gonna have to understand it's not your household.
Yeah.
So I think that's the hard part is when a parent doesn't know to understand that your child's life is their life.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you're gonna have to let go of those reins and allow them to live. And I'm saying this too right now as somebody who isn't a parent. But because I know I'm going to have trouble with that shit. I used to have that trouble with friends, right? So when I was younger, and this is something that I used to hate about myself that I learned to fix is how I used to give advice versus forcing somebody to take it, in which a lot of people fuck up on this shit a lot because this is something I used to do when I was in my teens.
Yeah.
So for example, when a friend would come up to me and ask for advice, I would give them advice, and if they didn't take it, I would hate them for it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why'd you fucking ask me in the first place?
You wasted my time.
Yeah.
Because I invested my feelings. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is kind of stupid though, because how you should give advice, or in my opinion, is when you give somebody advice or you tell something that you might think may be beneficial for them, it's up to that person to decide whether to take it or not. And you as a friend are just being there just to support them and try to help them out. If they don't take it, it's on them. You didn't waste your time because they were helped for whatever it was in that purpose, in that time.
You know what's annoying though is when they keep coming back and asking the same question.
That's a little different.
Assholes ask. Oh my god, dude! I had so many asshole friends. They would ask you questions and try to convince you, like they already know what the answer is, but they don't want to admit it. They just want confirmation for their thoughts. Yeah. So they'll just be like, "Oh, don't you think it's kind of funny and stupid to do it this way? Don't you think?" And it's like, "Nah, I don't think that." But don't you think? It's like, "Shut up, fool! Do you want me to just agree?" So you could go out and tell other people, like Joe thinks that too. Yeah.
That's just them just wanting to hear themselves speak at that point. Yeah. Dude. They're just trying to look for the confirmation from you. Yeah, that what they're doing is
it drives me crazy because it's like you don't want to solve a problem. You just want to confirm your own thoughts and be right.
Yeah, and like giving advice too is sometimes hard because like sometimes I'll preface now that I'm older and I tend to be a lot more straightforward than I was when I was younger. I'll always ask somebody, "Hey, do you want me to give it to you straight or do you want me to say it in a way that will spare your feelings a little bit?" Right? So you have that option, right? Yeah. And I always say, take everything that I say with a grain of salt because I'm not you. Yeah. So I'll give an option. So if they could take the harsh one, then you made that choice. You know what I mean? Like I've literally for example, like I mentioned this before, but when somebody was asking me that they wanted to be an actor and they came up to me with some bullshit and I fucking roasted the fuck out of them. Yeah. And I was like, well, this is the advice that you wanted. You came up with some stupid thoughts and I wanted to crush that shit before you moved on to the next step and then fail. Yeah. So like those assholes are kind of annoying just because it's like, what are you here for? Yeah. Like, what's the point of this?
They don't even know that they're being an asshole.
Because in that kind of point, it's like that whole take relationship. Yeah. Because there are certain people that come into your life that only come to you when they need something from you.
Yeah. And they're emotionally exhausting.
Yes. Yeah. When you get older, man, like that threshold for bullshit gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So I tend to invest my emotions in the people I care about, but if I don't care about you, I really don't give a fuck what happens to you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, I mean, that's all about being mature, right? Is like knowing when to invest your heart into something. Yeah. And knowing when to care. It's like controlling all that is like a mastery. Like it's hard. It's hard as fuck because everything's annoying.
Yeah, I think you and I have the similar problem. I think it's just because we go fucking angry Japanese, Korean people. Like when we feel something, we want to express it immediately. Yeah. And sometimes you just need to fucking step back and be like, is it worth fucking punching this person in the face? Like it's just not, what does it do?
Yeah, exactly.
And I had to learn that the hard way, specifically being in a long-term relationship.
Oh yeah,
because this too. This is just your longest relationship, right?
Yeah, she's the longest relationship.
Mariel is my longest relationship too. Yeah. So like the biggest thing I had to learn was to control my fucking mouth. Yeah, and not just like blurt what I feel at the fucking moment. Yeah, because typically before when I was with somebody, if I didn't like their bullshit, it's like, peace, bitch.
Yeah, for sure. Gone. Yeah, and then you'll find someone else.
Yeah, I'll find somebody else. I don't need to hear your fucking shit. But then when it comes to somebody that you want to be with for a very long time that you actually care about, you have to learn how to control these impulses. You have to be mindful of people's emotions and how they feel, and you want that same return back.
Yeah.
So like I just remember I think more so for her it was more difficult because like I understand like I'm not very typical in terms of like the people that normal people are with. I think you too, we're not very typical, right?
Yeah.
So we don't really. We're just different. You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of people, they know how to maneuver their words well.
Yeah.
Or they're more tactful. They just hold back saying certain things.
Yeah.
So it's like most people don't say things like that where we just let it all out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's too much.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, like for example, you know, we talked about this too, where the qualities that you fucking love about somebody are the same fucking reasons you hate them to death. Like you to fucking death.
Yeah.
Like for example, like you could. Here's a great example for guys out there.
Yeah.
So you meet this girl, right? She's beautiful, she's lovely, whatever. All right, and you also like the fact that she's a strong woman that has a very strong opinion about a lot of things.
And completely honest.
Great.
That's what we want.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what we asked for.
Yeah.
Problem is, that shit gets fucking annoying sometimes. Like when you're just like chilling, sometimes a girl will look at you and be like, "Why don't you get that crust off your face? You're ugly." I'm like, "What the fuck, bitch? I was eating a bagel. Why you gotta why you gotta chill? What the
There's
fuck,
no
man?"
filter.
Yeah, like that's what I asked for. I asked for this like unfiltered
Yeah.
like woman with the strong opinion.
Yeah.
But when I'm eating my cream cheese and bagel, how about you not call me ugly? Huh? How about that, bitch?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I'm just like, I'm brushing my teeth and I'm like, why you gotta call me fat? I know my belly jiggles when I'm brushing my teeth.
I'm telling you, man, that's like the lesson that I learned early on. It's like, oh shit, everything that I love about you is the same reason why I fucking hate you, dude.
But I do still appreciate it though, because I think I've been with so many relationships where I'm like, please just communicate with me. I want to have a conversation. I can't even have a conversation with you because you can't even express your words. You know, you don't know what's going on in here and you can't even say it out loud. Because a lot of these girls, they grew up being told shut up by their parents or something. Whatever it is, they're afraid to speak. And maybe it's more prevalent in the Asian American community where like if you have immigrant parents, a lot of them, you know, and then that's where like being passive aggressive and all these other things come out and they hold resentment because you can't solve issues. And I'm just like praying to God, like, please, I want a partner that I can just sit down and honestly have a conversation with and try to solve shit together with. So that's what I fucking love about it is like, I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting there eating a Cheeto, just watching TV.
Gotta come up and slap your bad tit.
What's up, fat ass? And I'm like, damn, man, what the fuck?
You know what I found out? Like I remember just thinking I wanted a girl who was, you know, just didn't have, I don't want to say opinions, but was just kind of chill about everything, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out I actually dislike that girl the most.
Yeah.
It's because it's that thing of having to try to figure out what they're thinking,
Right.
and dislike.
Right.
And I also grew up in a household where my mom was highly opinionated about fucking everything. So that's the type of woman that I grew up with. So I grew up around women who are, number one, highly opinionated, wasn't afraid to speak their fucking mind. Crass as fuck, you know, and just very strong.
Right.
And for some reason, I thought I wanted the exact opposite. That I wanted a strong woman who was still quiet, didn't really give a fuck about a lot of things. That's not true at all. The last girlfriend I had was like that.
Yeah.
Bored me to fucking death.
Yeah.
Like we would have arguments about certain things, and I think I would say things that I just wanted to see what she was thinking, and she would just be like, "You're probably right." It's like, no,
You can't respect someone who doesn't stand their ground.
yeah, like what are you thinking? I need to know what is going on in your mind.
Right.
And maybe to her argument, she's like, I don't want to fight about it. There's nothing to fight. I just want to hear what you think, because we can get to a point where we should be able to discuss about these things civilly.
Well, I mean, a lot of people grow up in a household where like any type of discussion or disagreement is considered like challenging your parents or like,
Oh, it's like disrespect.
it's disrespect. So then I don't think they're comfortable expressing their thoughts.
In a Korean household too, I used to hear this shit all the time, well, especially when I kind of like, I guess in their mind, talked back.
Yeah.
Like, 맨날 말 듣고 있어. That means like, why are you always talking back?
That's what I heard too. It was like, I was just asking questions because I want to learn.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to fuck up next time.
Yeah.
But then I just get smacked across the face and it's like, yo, have common sense. You should know already. That was what I was told. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, well, fuck, I don't even want to say anything.
Yeah. And there's like another thing that a lot of Korean people say, goes, 너 그것도 몰라? And that means you don't even know that shit.
Yeah.
You don't know that shit? It's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
But you know what though? Like at this age now, my mom, she cries and she tells me like, fuck, you helped me wake up. Like she was like, when you would challenge us back in the day and ask certain questions that we had no answer to, it would challenge our ego. And we, that pride would get hurt. So we would turn it back onto you and punish you for even asking those questions. But instead of sitting there and working through these thoughts like adults, like we were so tired and like she was just like, fuck, I'm so sorry. Like we all could have been better. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like the point that you're telling me this now, to me, that's awesome. That's all I can ask for. But it just sucks that like this is very prevalent in an immigrant household or like like parents with pride. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and when they grow up doing it that way, like it happens in a relationship too. Like you don't know how to speak to each other.
Yeah. And then to your mom's credit, what she actually said too is very true, especially in an immigrant family when they come to the States. It's hard for people to say to somebody who doesn't have money, who doesn't have resources to say, why don't you just sit down and talk to your kids? Yo, when you're working fucking like 80, 90 hours a week, that's kind of like the last thing that you want to do. And you can say as much as you want, well, if it's for your kid, you should put that time in. Look, and in your household too, unhappy marriage.
Yep.
Right? Wanted to leave their partner. Financially, things are fucking up, right? Yep. Kids maybe you were like super excitable. You were all over the place.
I had ADHD, man.
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
And the fastest way to punish a kid is just smack them upside the head and tell them, don't ask fucking questions because that's the only way they know how to deal with it. And it's hard to ground a kid and take something away from a kid when they don't really have much.
Right.
What are you going to take away from me? I'm broke. You're poor. I'm poor. We're all poor.
There's no grounding.
There's no grounding. It's like, go to your room. Great. I'm going to fucking jack off all day. What the fuck do you know? That's a great time for me. So like, when that whole grounding, I remember my dad actually tried to ground me. Yeah. It didn't do shit.
Nah.
It didn't do shit. I'm like, grounding? Cool.
Go to my room, man. I'm going to just start drawing.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to chill, dude. I remember one time, my dad, I forgot he punished me. And this fool got so fucking mad because after the punishment happened, I was like, cool. I went to my room and I started practicing singing this Brian McKnight song. Yeah. La, da, la, da, la, da. And then my dad's goes, you're fucking singing after I just punished you. Shit. And I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to fucking sing in my feelings, dog. Like, let me get my R&B on. And this will beat my ass because I was singing some Brian McKnight in my room, dude. Do I ever cross your mind? And he goes, what the fuck? You're singing? This is how you reflect on your punishment? And he starts beating my ass again. And then my mom comes and she goes, why are you hitting him? He goes, because he's singing. She goes, let him sing. Like if I look back at the fight, it's so ridiculous, dude. Why are you singing? My mom's like, just let the boy sing. He's not reflecting about what he's doing wrong. He's just singing.
He's singing love songs. Yeah. How is that reflecting?
Yep. And I'm just sitting there just crying, trying to sing a Brian McKnight song in my fucking room, getting my ass beat.
See, it was the song that you fucked up on. Imagine if it was like a hymn.
I know.
A hymn.
Light of the world.
He's like, that's right, bitch.
You pray to Jesus to pour your soul. You kesek, you motherfucker.
20,000 Hail Marys.
20,000 Hail Mary, motherfucker. Kesek.
Dude, that's fucking so true, man. And it sucks because there's a lot of people still in that. Like, we went through a roller coaster, but there's people out there right now that's going through it, and people listening, or like people that went through it and they never really like dealt with it. Like they never like came to this like peace with their parents. Like they still hold on to that shit.
Yeah, I get a little sad too because sometimes the foundation that you have with your parents wasn't set in order for you to have a comfortable conversation with them. Yeah. And like we mentioned this on a previous podcast where it's just there's no empathy on both sides. Like you're not understanding where your parents came from, and they're not really trying to understand you. So it kind of works both ways. Like my dad, the last time we had a huge fight, we had a heart-to-heart, and he said this that kind of, struck a chord with me. And I told him, I was like, you consistently want to have a relationship with me. And then my mom told me this too. And she goes, you know what? You should feel bad for your dad. And I was like, why? He goes, not pity him, but think about this. Like, he grew up in a broken household where, my dad's story is fucking crazy. Yeah. And we'll get into that at another time. But she goes, he has always wanted a close family, right? But because he wanted this close family, his expectation of what he thinks a family should be is skewed because he didn't have that.
Oh, so he's imagining like perfection.
Exactly.
When in the reality, that's not what a close family is or whatever. Yeah.
So he wants us to buy a big house where we live in it, you live in it, your family lives in like a multi-generational home.
Yeah.
But like she had a conversation with my dad. She goes, if you wanted that, you wanted your son to be a Korean person.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you take us to America?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, how can you have this expectation for your son to be a Korean person when you chose to raise him in a different environment? That was your choice.
And why are you so annoying if you want people close to you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, because he doesn't know how to connect sometimes.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he's trying.
Yeah.
But he's very socially awkward in that sense. And I have to learn how to maneuver around this, because I told him when we had the huge argument, I go, well, why can't you just talk to me?
Yeah.
Just don't lecture me. Don't tell me how to live my life.
Yeah.
Just fucking talk to me like how mom does. When mom and I talk, we just talk about bullshit and we have a good time. And he said to me, he goes, David, I didn't have that. When me and your grandma, how I talk to you, that's how your grandma talks to me. Or when she was alive. Your grandpa, that's how he talked to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do
Just
it.
commands.
Yeah. He goes, you're asking me to do something that I was never taught how to do and I don't know how to do. So that's not fair for you to say that to me. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. True, but man, you got to learn it. We all got to learn.
It's hard. He doesn't even sometimes know how to have a conversation with my mom. So
that's crazy, because he's a pastor, and you would think that a pastor is so socially wealthy with like people.
And I've
or is it because he's always in a higher position that people come to him for comfort, and he's really good at listening and giving advice and being lectury kind of?
I feel like in a Korean church, it's more like they look at the boksanim, the pastor, is such a revered person inside.
Wait, they're
the
called
church.
boksans?
Boksa.
Oh, that's dope, because we call it bokshi.
Oh, that's very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're looked at in a revered state. So most of the time, these pastors, they have meals with each other, they eat and stuff, but it's more like they're coming to them as a higher person, as a counselor. So he's speaking to them versus having a great conversation with them. And so that's the thing that used to always throw me off, because in the back of my mind as a kid, I always thought to my dad, it's like, how come you are so good to your church people, but you're not that great to me, like your own family? But that really wasn't the case. It's the form of communication was different. And, learning to have that speaking moment with my dad is when I learned a lot about him, because I just learned, oh shit, he doesn't know how to do this. And I'm expecting him to do something my mom's good at, but my mom's just different.
Yeah.
My mom's different. She's not like most Korean parents. She's just a weirdo. She's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
When Mariel met my mom, she's like, wow, your mom's really easy to talk to. She's super fun. And
there's no separation, right? Like most traditional Asian families, there's like this hierarchy, and the separation's pretty different.
Yeah.
Like there's you do have that level of respect where they're almost a stranger every single time you see them.
Yeah.
Right?
There's this love, but there's no like that grounded level of love. It's almost like, I don't want to say forced, but it's like, I love you because you're my parent, and not because I love you because I love you.
In other households you see.
Yeah. And so I think like I got kind of fortunate in the sense of how I connect with my mom is like that. And now my dad too, after we worked our bullshit out.
Well, that's because your mom is more folksy, right? Like,
yeah, she's country as fuck, dude. This woman's a bumpkin, dude.
Yeah.
Like if I drew a picture of my mom, just picture like Crocs, fucking swishy pants, a fucking vest from North Face, and a wheat coming out of her mouth.
But I feel like that stereotype's true, like all over the world. Like the more country you are, the more like human you are, the more closer you are, the more down to earth. Yeah. And then the more like prestigious or city or whatever, the stereotype is like, you're more like fake, really, or just political.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of like conversation too that I think I started to learn when I was older, like especially with our friends and personal relations that we do have. And you know this now too. It's when my dad used to say something to me when I was a kid, I used to get super combative with him. Yeah. And he would be like, hey, when you meet a girl, understand where her family comes from. Yeah. And I looked at him like, dude, you judgmental bitch, man.
But it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, you gonna judge these people before you even get to meet them? You're such a piece of shit. But what my dad was saying was, how you grow up is a direct reflection of what you become when you're older.
Yeah, they just suck at explaining things.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Right.
But as a young person that's very combative, I think if he would have better explained it, then I would have better understood it. Because all I heard was, you don't want me to marry a black girl. You don't want me to marry my Latina heat, dude,
Yeah.
but you don't like fucking Mexican chicks? I love that booty. You know, that's all I was thinking. But what he was saying was that if somebody comes from a broken home, you're going to see that reflected in their lives.
Yeah.
And it's a burden that you're going to have to carry as well.
Yeah.
And I started finding that out when I started dating people.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of girls with daddy issues
Yep.
had very similar problems. Same thing with boys with mommy issues have very similar problems.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, he's right. He was fucking right. You know?
I mean, definitely broken home. I mean, that's something that's what brings me close with Jess because of our experiences.
Yeah.
But what we realize is like, so she was raised by her dad. I was raised by my mom.
Yeah.
And we both have this expectation of what our male and female figure should be.
Yeah.
But we don't know how to act like a good male or female figure. So for example, she knows what a good dad is supposed to be like, right? But she doesn't know how to fill that role of a good female because there's no female role model. And then for me, it's like I have expectations about what a good female role model is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to fill the role of a good male role model.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing that we realize, like, oh, wow, like we have these weird expectations, but we don't know how to put in the work because we didn't have a good role model of that figure, like a good male figure and a good female figure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's definitely extra baggage and things that you have to work through. But I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it is when you can relate and not turn against each other, you could really work together as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you get to that point, man, and getting to that point too is so hard because you have to fight and fight and fight and fight.
I don't know how people do it, man, because it's not only emotionally exhausting, but you have to self-reflect and be very intelligent about the way you do things.
Yeah.
That shit's hard, man. Because we're all animals. Like, I mean, just the type of households we grew up in, I look back and I'm like, my family was a bunch of fucking baboons, dude. We were like monkeys shitting in our hands, throwing it at each other.
Yo, I tell the story too all the time. Yo, I witnessed my mom throw a filled rice cooker at my dad's head. You know what I mean? That's like some ape shit, dude.
Yeah.
I saw my mom take a rice cooker, rip it out from the wall, and chuck it at my dad. If you go to my house, you'll see where the counter cracked, and my dad put cement glue and reattached it from where my mom missed him when she threw the rice cooker. Bunch of apes, dude.
People yelling in the house, like, I mean, you know, it's such an unintelligent way to live. Like, it's such a bad way to like just be a human being. It's almost like you lose control and you become this animal.
Yeah.
And then you're just acting. It's so stupid.
I get, and I think too, we always try to not be the things that we hated seeing growing up. But sometimes that's just like embedded in you and it just seeps out. Like, I see the stuff that my dad does that pisses my mom off. And I'm like, you idiot. Why do you do that shit?
Yeah.
And then I do the same shit to Mariel.
Oh, no.
Like for example, when we first started going out, I didn't know when to cut out the jokes. So I would always make fun of her.
So your dad is a big jokester?
Yes. And he like, dude, he says some fucking savage ass shit.
So he just keeps roasting all day long.
Yeah. And he doesn't know when to cut that shit out. And then my mom would get fucking upset. Like I remember one time we were eating dinner and then my brother was there too. And then we were in tears laughing, but then my mom was not having it because my mom cooked some food and my mom loves cooking, right? So you just generally know you don't fuck around with the stuff that people love a lot. Yeah. So my mom, the way that she connects is cooking food. So she's cooking the food and she makes something for my dad. It's like this beef dish. And my dad eats it and he goes, it's kind of tough, right? And my mom's like, that's not tough. It's delicious. Yeah. Right. And I'm kind of laughing. And then my mom eats it and she goes, look, it's fine by me. Like my teeth are okay. And then my dad looks at her. He goes, you call those things dangling from your mouth teeth? Oh, and, dude.
Not only does he diss the cooking, but he disses her teeth.
No. I was busting up in tears laughing. No. And then my mom is not laughing, dude. She's just sitting there just mad dogging him. Like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
That's so fucked up,
and
dude.
Then she comes in, she just grabs the food out. She goes, don't eat the shit then. She
oh,
just takes the food. Shit. And then me and my brother are just laughing, dude. She was like, "Bakchima," which means don't eat it.
This is recently?
This is like a few years back.
Oh my God.
But dude, that's the type of shit my dad says.
Would he have said that if there was no audience?
Like, oh, yes, he would.
They just fight like that every day.
That's why they fight, because my dad always says some insensitive ass shit. Or he has a
Why does he take out his shit? Why does he do that?
I don't know. He thinks it's funny. You know,
Well, it could be, but like, fuck, dude, that's fucked up. There's consequences. I always say like you know, if you play with fire and you get burnt, that's your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do that joke, just shit, man. You're getting what's coming to you.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff like learning, just watching my parents, and I'm like, oh wow, dude, they're just normal people, man. They're going through like normal people shit. The way the things that they fight about is the same shit that I fight about.
Yeah.
And I start to learn a little bit more about myself as I begin to observe my parents.
Because you put them on a pedestal, and then you realize, oh man, you guys are fucking dumb.
Dude, I wish I learned this shit when I was younger though, because then I think I would have had a lot more empathy towards them, but I started learning it only like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because I wasted like 25 years.
Well, they have a different face for us.
Yeah.
So, you know, well, also your parents stuck together.
Yeah.
I think when you do come from a broken home, you learn really quick that they're not invincible.
Because you see the household split. And
Yeah,
it's like,
you see the
whoa.
weakness, and then you lose respect, and then you go, like you're pretty weak.
Your mom though, I would never guess that she is that old. Because the way you fucking describe her, dude, you described her like she was the crypt keeper, dude. Like she was this old dusty fuck where just like fucking powder's coming out of her asshole. She's like a fairy, dude. She's fucking light on her feet as fuck. She looks good.
I know. She's like, shit, 72 or some shit. I don't
Yeah,
know.
she's like 7 years, maybe like 6 years older than my mom.
Yeah.
But she looks maybe arguably younger than my mom.
Really? You think so?
I think she's so sprightly.
Yeah. Well, she has young energy for sure.
Yeah.
She has a lot of youth in her. Like, she's a cheerful person, man. Like, she's always been that way. I think she's a bit bipolar. She goes through these spurts of high intense happiness, and like she'll just be tired as fuck, and then she just goes up and down like that.
She's still working right now?
No, she retired.
Oh, when did she retire?
Yeah, years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, so she's like chilling right now.
Yeah. But she worked into her 60s, man, and she worked graveyard at the retirement center. She was a nurse and all that stuff. But like she lived most of her life servicing others, and she told me like she lived so much of her life like as a service to others that she doesn't know how to live for herself. Like you know, when she got married, well, before she married my dad, she was like living like through my grandma's vision and decision.
Yeah.
And then once she married my dad, she was like a good follower to him.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, she was living with me, and then she went and pretty much went to go take care of my grandma in Japan. So she went back to Japan like 15 years ago or something like that. And then so all of her life, like she's been living to basically serve others. And she's just a giver, man. She gets so happy giving and giving and giving. She has no ideas on her own. And then when she retired, she was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I really don't. She's like, thank goodness she started dating somebody, and someone who absolutely loved her. So like my stepdad, like he's the opposite of her, you know, like very, very adventurous. Like he loves traveling. Like he's a straight up FOB. Like he stowed away on a cargo ship and came to America, got his citizenship. You know, back then
he's an American citizen?
Yeah, he says back then it was easier to be an illegal immigrant and then just get your citizenship.
Oh, it was way easier before 9/11, dude.
Yeah.
It was super easy.
Well, yeah, especially for Japanese citizens.
Yeah.
So he came in here. He worked for the government, Washington, D.C. Like he spoke English. I mean, his English is pretty damn good, right? So, and like, you know, he rode motorcycles and he just loved traveling. So him being with my mom was really awesome because he pushes her to like try shit. Like my mom, she wouldn't even eat street food because she's afraid that people are going to look at her and judge her. Yeah. Well, because like I said, like she grew up in that prestigious world.
Oh, that's right.
So like for them, eating street food, eating, you know, at lower class restaurant. Yeah. It's like, oh, I don't want people to see me because I'm not of this class. And it's like, bitch, no one even cares anymore. Yeah. Like we're not in a caste system, you know, like no one knows. Like like you're just brought up that way to think that like, oh, we're a family of prestige, so we can't do this. We can't do the commoner stuff, or else there's gonna be rumors, and then it's gonna make the family look bad. But it's like, well, shit, bad news, but that's been over with. No one gives a fuck about her family. No one knows we exist.
Yeah.
But it's in her mind still, so she can't even sit down and enjoy udon or stand and eat udon, like eat food on the subway. So me and like her husband, like my stepdad, we're just sitting there, we're eating street food, we're laughing, and she's just standing there like, no, it's okay. And we're like, come on, eat it with us. But he's getting her to try shit.
She's looking at you like you're a fucking savage.
And what I love about it is she never pushed those things onto me.
It's just how she
like,
was. Yeah.
She was like, I'm so happy that you're the opposite of me because you're so like adventurous. And she's like, that's why I didn't put too many rules on you because I didn't want you to grow up in fear like me.
Yeah.
So it's good because this guy, this man, like he's so adventurous and he's taking her to the like Vietnam, Philippines, all these other countries.
Dang, she didn't want to eat Japanese street food. She's over here in Vietnam.
Right? She's eating street food out in Vietnam, do all kinds of shit.
Fucking
like
eating tiger dick and fucking...
Now she eats street food, but she's really blossomed out of that shell thanks to him.
Damn, she went to Vietnam. That's some different shit, dude.
Yeah.
She's over there. They're chopping up fucking starfish and eating that shit.
Yep.
That's fucking wild, man. That's
Yeah.
good for you. It's like she got a new lease on life.
Yeah. And it was crazy watching him date and shit. Like, I saw this child. Like, I saw this, like, girl with a crush. And I'm like, damn, dude. This old geezer's, like, falling in love and shit.
That's fucking tight, though, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. She's like, oh, this is what he texted me. And I'm like, damn, what the fuck?
You're like, ugh, gross.
I know.
Shut the fuck up. Ugh, what you mean text, dude? It's like, you see some weird ass
They'll be
emojis.
doing some old people flirting. Like, I am thinking about you.
just with the period.
I can't wait for our date. It's like, what the fuck?
Are you going to take your Metamucil before we meet? Make sure you take your gas X so you don't fart it up later.
I know.
I fucking love you. Oh, that's so fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I see my parents flirt, it sickens me. Like, I know there are
Oh,
people,
they flirt too?
I saw them one time when I came back from college. Like, they were chasing each other in the backyard. I was like, ugh, gross. The fuck are you doing, nasty?
So I guess you say a lot of the arguments and fights they do, but then like they do have a friendship too.
Of course, like I mean, those jokes that my dads make when they hit hard, they hit well, but when they go bad, they go really bad.
Yeah.
But he's a funny guy, and my dad is somebody who is very caring. Like he is. To his fault, he was a little too caring, which is why he got burned a lot. So when the hard part about giving and giving and giving is that you will find people who would take advantage of your kindness.
Is he like overbearing, caring type too though? Where he's like too much?
Well, it's not that so much. It's that he used to be somebody that just, if he saw somebody struggle, he would be the first person to help them out.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And
that's what made him a preacher probably.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like the Christ-like thing that he gained from the religion, right? Is to always lend a helping hand. And I don't think he was emotionally prepared for people to take advantage of his kindness. And that happened a lot to him. Like I remember this lady, long story short, we had two businesses, right? Both of them were going really well. We owned a beauty supply store and they weren't too far away from each other. So this lady had a fish and chip business. It was dying out. She used to sell these burgers. She used to bring it to us all the time. I used to love those burgers. Her business was dying out. It wasn't doing too well. And she said that she wanted to stay in the States, but if she didn't have a viable business here, she had to go back to Korea and live out over there. And then
She wasn't a citizen?
She was, but then she was like,
she couldn't make it here.
Yeah, she couldn't make it here. She goes, I don't want to go back. And then my dad was like, okay, cool. So we had this other business that was doing well. And so he goes, hey, I have this other business and I'm thinking about maybe letting it go, selling it and making some money off of it. But I'll sell it to you for a little less than what we bought it for or what we started it up for. So we lost a shit ton of money on it, but he wanted to help her out because she was a family friend.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if I'm going to sell, I'll just sell it to somebody that I care about. So he sells it to her, right? So like within a month, she puts it back up in the market, makes a profit off of it. What we would have made a profit off of, took that money, she moved to Korea anyways.
Wow.
So she took advantage of my dad's kindness.
Wow.
And stuff like that happened to my dad a lot. And so he got burned from it.
Yeah.
And so he
Because
started.
you were hoping she would stick around and make make that business boom.
Yeah.
And then you see a person that made a life for herself out here.
Yeah, she told my dad a sob story.
Yeah.
And then my dad sold it to her for pennies to the dollar. Then she flipped it, took the money, and moved to Korea. And so now it's like, bitch, if I ever see that lady, I'm fucking Spartan kicking that bitch in her uterus, dude. I don't give a fuck. But my dad got burned from that type of stuff. And
Well, good thing she's out of America.
oh, thank God she is, dude. She's probably like 70-year-old. I don't give a fuck. I'm choking that bitch out, dude.
I slapped the dentures out her mouth.
Yes, but my dad would get burned by people like this, dude. There's so many other stories too where my dad got hurt.
Yeah.
And so he tried to pass these lessons on to me. So he tried to make me very skeptical about trusting people, which, to be honest with you, helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I've only had really one bad business partner, and that was my fault because I had my guard down.
Yeah.
I had my defenses up, which saved my ass halfway through, but it would have been better if I just trusted my instincts that my dad kind of put into me. But yeah, he just got burned so fucking much from trusting people, and that's the hard part about being a giving person, is that you will face these experiences. But he wasn't prepared for the bad stuff, but he was always prepared for the good.
Yeah.
And so it kind of wore on him a lot. So he would always tell me, be careful about who you trust.
Yeah.
Don't just trust anybody. There are likable people in this world, which is a story I always tell people. There's likable people, but it doesn't mean that they're good people.
Exactly.
And that's what would happen to my dad. But you're a pastor. That's what you're supposed to do.
You have to.
You give out of love.
You're taught that.
That's why now, even when I give money to people, I don't expect them to return it back.
Yeah. We talked about this last time. You were like,
we just give.
You just give, and then like if they do, then they do. But then once that leaves your pocket, it's like, hey, it was meant to help them.
Yeah. It's gone. It is what it is.
But it's important to have street smarts though, because
for sure.
What your dad is like blindly loving and giving, which is like, only God could do that because we're human beings.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, fuck, you give too much, it's gonna burn you the fuck out. You're gonna start having a pessimistic view about human beings. But in my, like, I don't know, I think over the years I've built this intuition about people. And sure, like I've made mistakes choosing wrong people or whatever. But I think at the end of the day, like, you got to do it in steps.
Yeah.
You can't all of a sudden shower someone with like overwhelming gifts, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to kind of test the relationship. Like for all the people that I do business with now, like I'm so confident and trusting of the relationship that I don't have to worry about anything.
Oh, because we find people who are way better than us. Like I look at them, I judge them. Like, what the fuck you trusting me for, dude? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
They're such sweet people, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned, was to maybe not so much trust in the business, but trust in the people.
Exactly. That's all I've always done.
Yeah.
Is people always ask me like, oh, why don't you like do it this way in your business? Or like, why don't you hire these kind of skilled people or whatever? And I'm like, nah, man, that's not my system. My system is, I like these people. I could depend on them. I trust them. So that's it. That's all it is. It's super simple. I mean, I can go the other route and be like the corporate style where it's soulless and it's just all about skills and all about getting the job done. But why?
Yeah.
I would have just worked in the company if I wanted to be a shark like that.
Yo, I'm trying to learn, this year to figure out things that make me happy. Obviously, money makes me happy too, which I don't have a lot of anymore. But like, just like something small, right? For example,
what sparks joy?
Well, dude, fucking, I was, first of all, I was fucking up her name. I thought her name was Maricon, which also means like,
Maricon?
which means like faggot in Spanish or something.
Yeah, it does.
So I was calling her fucking faggot this whole time. I was like, Maricon, and my friend was like, Maricondo. I was like, oh, it's not Maricon? I was like, what's Maricon? Why does that sound so familiar? It's because that means like faggot in Spanish.
Yeah.
I was like saying faggot all over the place.
Oh no.
I felt so bad. I had no idea. I wasn't trying to say that. But I was just like, why does Maricon sound so familiar? And I was like, oh, because it's a very derogatory word. So but either way,
Kondo.
she's been like, I watched her show on Netflix, but I've heard about her for a while because of her book, and it blew up. It kind of taught people not so much not to have to waste your money on buying things. It's about organizing your life and figuring out what purpose it has in your life.
Yeah.
Right? Which
Fill
helps
it up with a lot of things that have purpose.
Yeah.
Instead of a lot of clutter.
Yeah.
That just takes up space.
Does it spark joy? And that was the biggest question. And so when I was watching it, it kind of coincided with my New Year's goal of trying to figure out what makes you happy. And it's just to have things just to have it doesn't make me happy.
No, it's the purpose or the reason or the sentiment or the whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like it even goes back to something small as for me, when I was going through a lot of shit, like specifically trying to figure out what I was doing, dude, I just started buying things in my spare time, just because of that momentary happiness that I got from buying.
You're like, ooh, I want that.
Yep, and it felt good.
I mean, that was me collecting spears and swords. Like, ooh, I could smash some motherfucking watermelons with this.
And it was like all this like stuff that made me temporarily happy.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I'm learning now, it's like, why am I spending this money on this? You know, it doesn't matter if I have the money to spend it on it. Like, what can I be doing with this? And it's just filling my house with garbage.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, even like this, I'm giving up the Tesla this year, right? Like, arguably I could keep it and then, you know, be happy with this car. It's cool.
But it served its purpose.
It served its purpose.
Yeah.
So let it go. Like, do I want it? What is the reason why I want to keep this Tesla? It's because honestly, it's just, if I'm just going to be 100% real, it's part to stunt, like saying like, yo, I could afford this car. This is the car that I have. So when we had this conversation and people look at, and you know, I've read this in comments too.
Yeah.
They're like, why do you keep acting like you're not rich? Like you're not a millionaire.
Yeah.
You dumb bitch. You think if I'm a fucking millionaire, I would be doing a podcast in my own fucking house? I would be setting up this camera myself. I would be setting up this. You fucking dumb. If I was I would let everybody know. I would be the guy that walks around with the wad of cash, and I'd slap the fucking shit out of you, and I'd toss $1 in your face.
You are technically a millionaire in assets.
Kind of.
But you might not be cash rich.
I am.
So that's what
cash
people
poor.
don't understand about is like in our stages, in our 30s, right? Like as business owners, like we're still in the game of growth.
Yeah.
And we can choose to cash out early. We can, but that's too fast.
I'm poor, dude.
I'm cash poor because a lot of the money that I do get to is I invest it immediately.
Yeah.
So most of my money and value is in businesses, is in investments, is in all these other things. And yeah, I mean, like what Elon Musk did is after he sold PayPal, he put all of that motherfucker inside Tesla and he was like living in an apartment or some shit. Like he was bankrupt or whatever.
People don't and there's something as simple as this. So I did a podcast recently with Edric, and then I was talking to them about the go for broke situation with this, right? And I didn't realize that people didn't understand the difference between gross profit and net profit, which is something so basic.
Well, I mean, if they didn't go to school for business and
or
stuff
even
like
own
that,
a business,
yeah,
and so
they don't know the difference.
You know, a couple of like messages that I got, they're
Yeah.
like, "How that doesn't make any sense? How could go for broke go from making 0 to about 7 figures, and then you guys couldn't handle it? You guys should be rich." And I'm like, listen, that's not how it works.
Right.
Like, there's something also called manageable growth. Right. Just because something grows, if you don't set up the systems in place to help you run that business, you're just going to go bankrupt eventually because you put all your resources and money into trying to manage and run something that you don't know how to run yourself.
Yeah.
So everybody else gets paid to do it, but so you walk away with nothing.
Yeah. So to basically sum it up for all of you who don't know the difference between gross profit and net profit. So gross profit is just basically money coming in. It's technically not profit, it's gross income.
Yes.
So it's all the money just coming into your business, all the sales, right? But the net profit is when you subtract the costs of operating. So like, let's say we have a t-shirt company, right? Like, but first we have to put up the money to make the t-shirt, get the design on the t-shirt, ship the t-shirt, all that stuff. And that is the cost of the operation. We also have to pay the customer service people, all that stuff. These are all costs, right? And then maybe the rent or whatever. So you factor that in that is the cost of the shirt, right? And then you sell it for like, let's say like the cost is $7 and then we sell it for like $30, right? So the leftover, that is the net.
Yeah. And
So that's really what it is. So there's companies out there like that are, you know, they make $100 million, but they spend $100 million.
Yeah.
You know, so they're a broke company technically.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really interesting in the business world. There's so many different ways when you're talking about profit too.
Yeah.
There's not just, it's just so many things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I didn't realize until I read a couple of comments and a couple of messages. They want clarity on it, or it wasn't even some people were just being rude, But I'm not really mad about that. It's more like, oh, okay, so this is what it is. Like, there's just basic business stuff that a lot of people don't understand.
They don't get it.
And that's okay. Like, I understand. It was just kind of like, oh shit. So a lot of people who don't own businesses, they just see it from the outside. They go, you have a business, you're balling. There's no knowledge in between that they really know about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to touch on that. So with Go for Broke, if I were to explain it even further than the other podcast, it was what I mean by the company grew so big that we couldn't handle it is that, number one, that we weren't properly staffed.
Yeah.
And number two, because we weren't properly staffed, a lot of our money went into buying things for the company in terms of services and goods that we didn't know how to manage. So we used all our money on that. And the number 3 or 4, I forgot, whatever. But we only did it 10% of the time, each of us.
Yeah. So, and it's a learning experience. Not everyone is going to know before they do the actions. And that's one of the dark side of entrepreneurship, right? Like what they don't tell you is all the failures like that we have to go through to learn our lesson. And sure, we could have sat down and we could have analyzed, we could have learned, we could have read, and we could have talked to consultants. Sure, all those things, there could have been
100%
preventive things that we could have gone through. But I always say the best lessons that you learn is the ones that you learn, like, go through yourselves.
Yeah.
And then that's just the name of the game, man. Like, we got to do it. And that's what separates being a business owner and being an employee. Like, when you're an employee, you can make these mistakes, but you still get your paycheck unless you make a really bad mistake and you get fired.
Yeah.
But regardless if you lose the company money or not, whatever you do, like I was in shipping, and if I ship all the packages to the wrong places, I'm not going to get fired. They're just going to say, hey, you made a mistake. Don't do it next time.
Yeah.
But the company eats that
Cost.
loss.
Yeah.
They lose money because they got to now reship it to the right place and all these things. But nothing happens to me. I still get my salary.
Yeah.
So it's very different for them because they don't understand how that works. When you're a business owner, you take the losses.
Yeah.
So if my employee messes up and all of the shipping goes wrong, I don't make profit that month because I'm fixing all of their mistakes. I eat that risk. But in return, when it does well, 5-10 years from now, I'm the one that's going to be, doing way better. But that's just a give and take, right? Like, if you get a salary now, that's because you don't have to take any other risks.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a fair exchange, but what ends up happening is the lack of understanding and education on both parts, that it just seems like, oh man, like, if you're a business owner, you got it fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, nah, man. I like it because I get control over my choices.
Yeah.
But man, it's just as hard as working a job. Like, I remember working a job. I mean, there's just, no matter what you do, it's not going to be simple.
Yeah.
And
it's hard, man.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah.
I think when you're an employee too, sometimes what gets lost in translation, like you were mentioning, is you get to play with daddy's money. Daddy gives you money, you get to play. And sometimes, like, people get ahead of themselves. They go, oh, I don't know why you run this company this way. I could do it so much better. You say that because it's not the money that's playing in your fucking
I used to
pocket.
say that all the time. And I was like, when I start a business, I'm not going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And then I fucked up.
It's like, oh shit, that's right. This is my money that I'm playing with.
Yeah.
Now it's different.
Yeah.
Now because before you were gambling literally with somebody else's change.
Yep.
And you're willing to make those risks because you don't see the adverse effects it has on you and your lifestyle. Because you're still going to walk away with a paycheck. Mm-hmm. You're still going to be okay with it, but that's not how the owner of the business looks at it. It's like, oh shit, like, if this fucks up, this whole company can go down.
Yeah. And I mean, what I love about being a business owner, though, is the learning experience. It's just like a nonstop journey of ups and downs. And like, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's kind of like this adventure because there's so much risk involved. It just makes everything so exciting. I actually like making mistakes and like doing weird shit because from that, it makes life interesting.
Yeah. And we definitely learned because in this case, and I guess one of the questions that people were asking is like, oh, so did Go for Broke fail? No, I will never say Go for Broke failed.
No, it did not fail.
It did not fail. Yeah. It's just
it did not fail.
How does 3 people who put 10% of their time into a company run a 7-figure company?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Maybe,
By the way, one person managing customer service.
exactly. Oh yeah, we forgot
And that
to mention
was
that.
like tens of thousands of orders and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we do this? And there was no way. And if we kept this company going, we would have lost a lot more money, and that shit would have killed us.
Sometimes you got to know when to exit.
Yeah.
So
and it was smart for us.
yeah.
We just broke even.
Right. I mean, that's
was
why I
amazing.
didn't fail. It's
Yeah.
like I got to learn all of this. I got so much experience. I know what to not do next time. I know my limits, and I got to do it without paying anything. I
Yeah.
broke even.
We broke even.
I didn't lose money. That's winning. In my book, it's winning. But I also think you have to be a bit of an optimist to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because most people will see that as failure and they'll be like, why even do that? Why put yourself through that? Me, on the other hand, like, I don't see life the same way they do. So
Yeah.
I see it as like, that was awesome, dude. Like us three, we created like this thing. Everyone got shirts. It was like awesome. And we didn't lose money. And we learned so much from it.
Yeah.
And maybe I got to tell myself that so I don't feel bad about it. But at the same time, I truly do believe that. And I feel like good about it.
Yeah. It's entrepreneurship and having your destiny in your own hand it's not for everybody. And I'm not saying that it's better or worse. I'm saying just some people just aren't built for it.
Yeah, it's like, is it for you or not? That's all I'm saying.
Because if I'm just being completely honest, I would like to be able to have that mentality where there's some people who are so good at doing the same thing every day and they live in fucking bliss. And that's the kind of life that I sometimes envy, because
If you like routine.
if you like routine,
Yeah.
I wish I would really like routine, because if I did, then I wouldn't have to waste my time trying to figure out everything every day. It's kind of, it's like I look at them, like I have a friend, guy's an engineer, and the guy he's very happy working his 9 to 5 and then doing his hobbies on the weekend.
Yeah.
I want to do my hobbies 24/7.
Yeah,
You know
same
what I mean?
here, same here.
I want to
yeah.
do my hobbies 24/7.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the hard part, right? It's like, okay, well, if you're going to be in that realm, then you got to figure out how to make these hobbies profitable and live like that. Even when it fails, you got to take those losses and move on, learn
Right.
from it, and try again. And that's going to be what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, money's always good, but I got into this because of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I got to get creative on how to maintain this lifestyle so I can make this work.
Yep.
Talking to my friend and this is work.
This is work.
Talking to my friend and entertaining people, sharing my thoughts. Like, how can I make food like work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and some people get into business for different reasons. They'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I just want to make a shit ton of money. I just want to figure out things. Some people get in for more like a holistic reason or like a more community reason. Like, I want to change the world. I want to help people. There's so many different reasons why people get into business, but I always say, like, there's two things people should all do. Is one, start a business. I want everyone in the world to just start a business and try it.
Yeah.
And just to experience it, even if they don't stick with it. Just
Yeah.
to know what it's like. And two is serve people like
Yeah.
in a restaurant.
Yeah. Humbling.
I want everyone to experience what it's like to be a server at a restaurant.
Yeah.
That shit will change you, man.
It's and don't even look at it. I say don't even look at like what we do too as something people should be envious of. Just know that we found our lane and figure out what your lane is.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the times that I hear people say this, they go, I could do that too. All right, bitch, do it then. If you could do what we do.
What a fucking arrogant fuck.
Yeah, you hear that shit all the time. It's like, I could do that. My dude, be my fucking guest.
Those are like the guys at the UFC fights that are watching and they're like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. It's like, really, dude? Like,
Yeah.
you go in the fucking cage.
Yeah, like you be my fucking guest. Even people who do podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could do a podcast. You really fucking couldn't though.
Yeah.
And the reason why is just you just weren't built for it. Do you think it's easy sitting here having conversations? It's like, it's easy for us because it's natural and we've done so much stupid shit in our lives and fucked up so many times. We have so many things to talk about.
It's a skill though.
It's just it's a skill to have. You don't think that I've brought like 3 or 4 people here already to sit at this table and have this conversation and they could not do it?
Yeah.
They couldn't do it and I didn't understand why. And it's just because some people aren't wired like that.
No, they didn't build a skill set.
Yeah, because I look at my best friend, he's a physician.
Yeah.
He's in his last year of his residency and I would never say to him, I could do what you do.
I could fucking cut out a heart and put a new one in.
Yeah. Even somebody like this dude named James Cage White.
I love that dude.
There's this Asian dude that goes up, he puts his feelings and his heart's on the line every day.
Yeah.
Dude, Tim just sent me a text of this fool. He posted a Twitter post. It's a photo that he set up. So you could tell he posted his phone on a coffee cup. And then he set the timer up and he sits there and he grabs his head like this.
And he's crying?
Pretending to cry.
Yeah.
And it's him saying, oh, how come I cannot finding love? Sometimes it's so, I can't do that. I cannot be him. If I was him, I'd die. I would fucking die.
That's genius. That's genius work. You gotta love that shit though.
Yeah, I respect his hustle. I cannot draw those 3-year-old drawings and ask people if it's a good drawing and put it on a t-shirt and sell it as merch.
I bought one.
This motherfucker bought that shit, dude.
And I'm gonna buy another one soon.
Yo, shout out to James Cage White. Yo, if you're ever in the States, you are allowed to come on Genius Brain Podcast.
Hell yeah.
I want to pick your sad brain.
I need him here.
Dude, I found out about him because of Tim and this dude.
Yeah.
And because I already know how similar our sense of humor is. I already knew I was going to love this guy. I was on Vine because he started off
He was
in
on Vine. Yeah, he was on Vine.
I was on that fucking Vine, 30-minute Vine compilation. I watched it like 20 times in one night.
Very cool, very swag.
I like it.
I like it.
So the backstory to this guy is this guy, James Cage White. He's in China. And he was trying to learn how to speak English through Vine, right?
He was practicing English through Vine.
So he would put it up and he would get feedback on it. So
Yeah.
he was just practicing talking to somebody, which is actually a great way to learn how to speak English.
Yeah.
And it just blew up into something else because he's so innocent.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how ridiculous he is.
Yeah. I like apple.
Yo, I got so fucking mad when he started saying banana right.
Banana.
He used to say banana.
Banana.
He goes, hey, this is a banana. It's very cool, very swag. I like it. And then some people were cracking jokes on him saying, yo, you call it banana. He never says banana anymore.
Oh.
Don't break the fucking joke, dude. Let him say banana.
Banana.
This is a banana. I fucking love that guy, dude. Oh, man.
I remember his like food that he would always post. And what I loved about the dude is he is so fucking grateful.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's eating like garbage slop, like straight up factory peasant shit. And then he's like, this is very delicious. I like it. And I was like, it was literally just like rice and water with a little bit of pickles on the side. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? This guy is so sad. And then he's eating a banana or like an apple, like it's like it's a dessert.
Dude. And then you would give him $25 for his t-shirt.
I would.
Which in China is like fucking like $60.
In a heartbeat, I would do it.
And
so he could have bananas for life.
Dude, I genuinely like that guy, man. There's some people on the internet that are so innocent. Fucking Hitman Breaker of the Eye.
I miss him too.
Dude, he doesn't do anything anymore.
Happy birthday to you.
He had happy birthday to you.
Okay, yeah.
Happy birthday to you. It's like this.
And Nova Roku.
Novo Roku. Yo,
He came to one of my shows, man. I love that guy.
shout out to Novo Roku, dude.
You know, he got hacked and all of his videos taken down and all this shit.
Is that why he disappeared?
Yeah, man. And then he tried to come back and then it just didn't work out.
Yo, Novo Roku, I love you, bro.
Yeah, I miss Nova Roku.
Yo, we gotta get that fool on Genius Brain, man. Love that guy.
I know.
Well, anyways, guys, that's another man. We talked about a lot of shit.
Oh shit, was it over an hour already?
Yeah, man. We actually had a specific topic we forgot to get to.
Okay, well next time. We'll talk about it next time. This was good.
Yeah, man. So remember, you could check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, any kind of audio platform. We're going to be there. Make sure that you listen to us. Give us a listen to. If you're watching this on YouTube, once again, leave comments below about the stuff you want us to talk about. Genius Brain is a podcast where just regular people talk about regular shit, about anything and everything, because everybody has something to say. We love you, bitches.
That's the mother good shit.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Stay genius.